Have you ever noticed how some rooms just feel heavier than others, even when they're perfectly clean? Like your mind can't quite settle, no matter how tired you are? What if the problem isn't about needing more rest, but about the space you're trying to rest in? We've all been there. You come home exhausted, drop onto your couch, and somehow you still feel restless. Your eyes scan the room, taking in every little thing, every piece of clutter, every mismatched item fighting for your attention. And then you wonder why relaxation feels so hard to find. Here's something fascinating, though. When we look at Japanese minimalism, it's not just about having less stuff or following some trendy aesthetic. It's actually about creating spaces where your mind can finally exhale. Today, we're exploring why rest feels fundamentally different when your physical space starts to match what your mind actually needs. Understanding the mental load of physical clutter. Let's talk about something researchers at Princeton University discovered back in 2011. They found that when multiple objects compete for our attention in our visual field, our brains basically go into overdrive. Think about your bedroom right now. There's probably a pile of clothes on that chair, some books stacked on the nightstand, charging cables scattered around, maybe some random items you've been meaning to put away for weeks. Each one of those objects is sending a tiny signal to your brain. And your brain, being the helpful organ it is trying to process all of them simultaneously. This constant processing creates what neuroscientists call cognitive load. Even when you're not actively thinking about that pile of laundry or those scattered papers, a part of your brain is keeping tabs on them. It's like having 20 browser tabs open on your computer. Sure, you're only looking at one, but all of them are draining your battery in the background. Now imagine trying to achieve deep rest in that state. Your body might be still, but your mind is running a marathon you didn't even sign up for. When your environment becomes background noise. The really sneaky part about living in cluttered or visually busy spaces is that we adapt to them. After a while, we stop consciously seeing the mess. We walk past the same pile of magazines every day and think we've gotten used to it. But here's what actually happens. Our conscious mind might tune it out, but our subconscious never stops registering it. Studies from the UCLA Center on Everyday Lives of Families found that stress hormones actually spike in people who describe their homes as cluttered or full of unfinished projects. Women in the study who gave tours of their cluttered homes showed increased cortisol levels throughout the day. That's the stress hormone, and it was elevated just from being surrounded by disorder. What Japanese minimalism understands, and what we often miss, is that our spaces are never truly neutral. They're either supporting our well-being or working against it. There's no middle ground where stuff just exists without impact. Every item in your space is either serving a purpose and bringing you peace, or it's adding to that invisible weight you carry around. The Japanese philosophy of ma. In Japanese design philosophy, there's this beautiful concept called ma. It roughly translates to negative space, or the space between things, but it's so much deeper than that. Ma is about valuing emptiness as much as fullness. It's the pause between musical notes that makes the melody beautiful. It's the blank wall that makes the single piece of art stand out. In our homes, ma is the breathing room that lets our minds actually rest. Western culture often treats empty space like wasted opportunity. We feel this weird pressure to fill every corner, hang something on every wall, use every surface. But Japanese minimalism flips that script entirely. Empty space isn't nothing. It's something crucial. It's where visual rest happens. When your eyes have somewhere to land that isn't demanding attention or processing, your nervous system gets the message that it's okay to stand down. Think about walking into a traditional Japanese room. There might be a low table, some cushions, perhaps a single scroll painting on one wall, and a small flower arrangement. That's it. And somehow it feels complete. Not empty, not sad, just peaceful. Your eyes don't have to work. Your brain doesn't have to categorize and process. You can just be. The connection between visual simplicity and sleep quality. Let's get specific about sleep for a moment because this is where the difference becomes really obvious. The National Sleep Foundation recommends keeping bedrooms cool, dark, and clutter-free. That last part isn't just about tripping over stuff in the dark. Clutter in your bedroom affects your sleep quality even with your eyes closed. Some researchers believe it's because our brains associate messy spaces with unfinished tasks, and unfinished tasks trigger our stress response. Japanese minimalism in a bedroom might mean keeping surfaces clear, storing clothes out of sight, choosing neutral, calming colors, and limiting decorative items to one or two meaningful pieces. When you walk into a bedroom like this, your brain gets an immediate message that this space is for rest, not for stimulation or productivity. There's nothing pulling your attention in 12 different directions. The simplicity itself becomes a cue that it's time to wind down.
Matching your external space to internal needs. When we talk about your space matching your mind, we're really talking about alignment. Most of us live with this disconnect between how we feel internally and what surrounds us externally. Inside, we're craving calm, simplicity, and space to think. Outside, we're surrounded by excess, noise, and constant visual stimulation. That misalignment is exhausting in ways we don't even realize until it changes. Japanese minimalism offers a framework for closing that gap. It asks questions like, does this object add value to my life? Does it serve a function or bring me joy? Is it here because I chose it intentionally or because it just accumulated? These questions help us create spaces that actually reflect our values and support our mental health. When your home becomes a true sanctuary, when it stops fighting against your need for peace, rest transforms from something you struggle to achieve into something that flows naturally. The ripple effect of simplified spaces. Something interesting happens when people simplify their spaces using minimalist principles. They report not just feeling more rested at home, but carrying that sense of calm with them throughout their day. It's like starting each morning with a clearer mental slate. When you're not navigating chaos just to get ready or constantly being reminded of undone tasks by the stuff around you, you have more mental energy for what actually matters. Studies on decision fatigue show that every choice we make throughout the day depletes our mental resources a little bit. When your space is simplified, you eliminate hundreds of tiny decisions and distractions. You're not deciding what to do about that pile of stuff, or where to put this thing, or whether you should finally deal with that corner. The decisions are already made. Everything has its place, or it's not there at all. That freed up mental energy means better rest when you finally do slow down. Creating your own version. The beautiful thing about Japanese minimalism is that it's not about perfection or following rigid rules. It's a philosophy, not a checklist. You don't need to throw everything away or live in an empty room to benefit from these principles. Start with one space where you want to feel more at rest. Maybe it's your bedroom or a corner where you like to read. Apply those simple questions. What here serves me? What brings value? What can be released? As you create more breathing room in your physical space, pay attention to how you feel. Notice if rest comes easier. Notice if your mind quiets down faster in the evening. That feedback is everything. Your space should work for you, not the other way around. When it does, when your environment finally matches what your mind needs, rest stops being this thing you chase and becomes simply where you land. Real rest isn't just about closing your eyes or lying down. It's about creating conditions where your whole system, body and mind together, can actually let go. Japanese minimalism shows us that our spaces have way more power over that process than we usually give them credit for. When we clear the clutter, embrace simplicity, and value empty space, we're not just decorating differently, we're fundamentally changing our relationship with rest itself.